Every week we bring you stories of athletes who inspire us.
Chris Formaker was diagnosed with cancer in 2015. He was 8 years old. Back then, Chris didn't know how much would be taken from him. Let's meet the captain of the Franklin High School JV basketball team. Chris Formaker is the captain of the junior varsity team at Franklin High School.
I think when I first actually touched like a basketball, I was probably like 1, maybe 2.
Head coach Stephen Jefferson says the decision to make Chris captain was an easy one after Chris missed a couple of games last summer while his family was on vacation.
Our bench energy was not the same. Our on-court energy was not the same. Something was missing. And I said, Chris isn't here. And in that moment, I knew I have to have this kid. I have to have this kid. And I knew that from that moment, he was going to be our bench captain that year.
As a bench captain, Chris may not spend a lot of time on the court, but his energy and knowledge of the game makes a huge impact on this team.
I think he saw like the effort I give and the, I guess like support I have for my teammates on the bench, even if I don't like play as much. Always like up and yelling and, you know, excited for my teammates to see them score or play good defense.
Basketball has been a focal point of my life since before Chris was born.
Chris's dad fueled Chris's love of basketball.
When Susan was pregnant with Chris, she would come to games, and so he's been in a gym since, you know, before he was out of the womb.
I mean, I think that I just really enjoyed like watching him coach, and he always made like it looked so fun, I suppose. And obviously with him being my coach, he kind of helped guide me in that direction.
Chris's dad coached alongside Coach Jefferson when Chris was 8 years old. This was right before one of the most pivotal moments in Chris's life.
So I remember it like it was yesterday. Like I remember it. We saw him a game limping, unsure. He's a kid. Kid's limp. We thought he got kneed, he has a bruise, something happened, he's fine. The limp doesn't go away.
And so we just kept an eye on it. And then a few nights later, after his bath, I noticed that his knee looked swollen, so I went and felt it, and it felt hard. And so we took him to the doctors, or Jesse took him to the doctors the next morning. And then the following Monday, he was having his biopsy. So it was very, very quick.
It was osteosarcoma, a bone cancer, mostly found in the longer bones of the arms and legs.
Once I actually did learn, I don't think I really knew fully what that meant. So I don't think I was as perceptive, but it was definitely still difficult for me because I had obviously heard a few things from school about like certain other kinds of cancer like leukemia and how serious that can be. So I think it did upset me, and I thought like it was going to be something crazy and life-changing. So yeah.
It was scary, I guess. At the same time, just thinking about Chris as an energetic 8-year-old, and he was so young, and if I could have traded places with him, I would have. And it was a nightmare.
We just basically came to a resolution that we had no idea what the experience was going to be. We had no idea how we're going to get through it, but we knew what the end was going to be. And we just promised each other the end was going to be that we were all going to get through this, and we were going to get through it stronger as a family.
Chris's cancer spread from his left hip down to his knee. The bone had to be amputated. But instead of removing his entire left leg, Chris chose a rotationplasty, removing just the cancerous bone.
So basically, they cut off kind of like from right up here down to like here, and then take this part of my leg and then flip it around like 180 degrees and reattach it right up here, kind of close towards my hip. So that way my ankle can kind of function as like a knee joint, and my Achilles kind of functions like the tendons back here in the knee.
This type of surgery allowed Chris to get back to the basketball court.
I mean, that's the remarkable thing. You know, he made the freshman team last year, and Susan and I sat on the sideline and watched him walk onto that court, and we were both, I mean, we were teary-eyed, because that's what he wanted, was that opportunity to one day be able to run and jump again and be a kid and play sports.
It's just my whole life is basketball, 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 which is how it would have been before, but now it's in a different way rather than like working on finishing or something like that, I kind of work on like what I can do to like learn about my knowledge of the game.
I'm by myself. I don't have an assistant this year, or he's busy most of the time. I go to Chris because his basketball brain and his basketball IQ is through the roof. And I had 1 or 2 times this season where I go, can you draw this offense for this player? I will give him a clipboard, I will give him a pen, and he can draw it.
There's no doubt Chris is battle tested, but Chris believes he's stronger for it and wants others in similar situations like his to know.
It might seem like something that is terrible now. In a few years, you're not even really going to think of it as something that, you know, really impacted you negatively. You're going to see it as more of a positive and something that helps shape who you are.
Chris truly inspires everyone he meets. His energy and positivity brings light to those around him, and Coach Jefferson says no matter what, Chris will always find a role on any team.
Fantastic. All right, thanks, Aubrey.